Welcome back, everybody. Just Mike here. Today we have another clock to work on, and normally I try to find the, let's say, unusual clocks. It all depends on the price or what mood I'm in when it comes to buying a clock. And this one here is a sawtooth clock. I've done this one here and learned about the clock just by doing it. And so let me show you the clock I have this time. This is the clock I have this time. It's quite unique because it has these pieces on the side. The movement looks like it's exactly alike of what I had before. And at the moment this clock is ranging at 21 and let's say 21 and a half. It's very unique, like I say, decorative, whatever. It has this wood decorative trim. It's missing a few pieces. There's nothing I can do about that because you just don't buy that. There's a chance if you want to replace it all, you go to Home Depot maybe and buy their fancy little trim, which I think is bigger than this, but you can cut it down just to get some of the decoration on there. Now you can see here, we'll say the piece is missing. It's actually not missing. It was broke off the clock in order to ship it, and these are the parts I'll have to glue back on. So it's nice to have the top and the bottom with this clock to make it look even cooler. But we'll do that a little bit later. I think what I'm going to do first is take these off, which I'm guessing, yep. We'll spin these off. Well, this actually has another nut here that holds it on tighter. And I'd like to get them off because it makes it easier to take a look at this. And then here's a little nut that was on there that held it tight to the piece of metal here. And the decorative part here, there is a hole on both of them, and I'm not sure what's supposed to be in there, but like I say, this here's kind of a dolled up clock, so I haven't seen a clock like this that had the extra foo-foo on the sides. So I have no idea really what those are for, but it would be cool to find one like this. So to finish taking this off, I need to remove the nut here and the nut here so I can pull the sawtooth off in order to get the clock off. And there we have it. This thing's absolutely filthy, so it's a good thing to take it apart and clean it. Now I did notice most of these that I've seen, this here is ticking clear over here. It doesn't tick all the way over, so this is messed up and will have to be straightened out. In which this wire seems to be pretty easy to bend. You don't want to get carried away because you don't want to break it. The nut to the hand is loose. And now what I have to do is take these two screws out to get the porcelain plate off. This seems to be a little difficult, but you pretty much turn this upside down and eventually you should be able to get this off. Now this hand is bent up, or not hand, the pendulum part, so it's not going to be as easy as you would think. Let me push this pendulum wire in. I know it's sitting down so far it's hitting the time shaft, I guess we'll call it. There we go. We'll take this off so it doesn't just fall off. And to get it out, you remove those two screws. Normally you're possibly not going to be doing any cleaning to this. It depends on how bad it looks when you get it open. But this is a good time that you can oil it. Now why there's a piece of felt here, I'm not sure. This is usually, it's dirty, it's usually gold, and the one that's hanging on the wall right now, I went ahead and scrubbed this clean, and most of the gold came off. It's just gold paint. And what I did on it was I used gold leaf to shine this up. So here's the movement. Like I said, there's not much about it. It says Cuckoo Clock Manufacturing Company Incorporated, Germany. And it says it has 0 joules. I say now's a good time to look at it, but more than likely all you're going to do is oil this clock, blow it out if it's got any dust in it. You could take it apart if you wanted to, if you saw a need to. So to straighten this out so the pendulum is technically speaking centered, number one, this rod or cover was bent down, so I had to bend it up carefully, and I guess I was successful at that. And then I held it to where I could actually bend this wire and not bend inside there to get this thing to be a little more level to where it should tick when it has its weight on it. So what I plan on doing now, like I said, I've looked this thing over. It actually looks pretty clean. If I wanted to tear it apart and shine it up, I could, but I don't know why you'd do it just to shine it up, because you don't see this at all. So like I say, what I plan on doing is just go ahead and oiling this and getting it back into the box, in which the box, I'm going to go ahead and scrub it lightly just to leave that ugly gold on it. Like I say, I think it's just a spray paint or brushed on there. It's no big deal. It's rough paint, and if you were to use a scratchy pad to clean this thing, that roughness would go away. So I'm just going to leave this one just the way it is, just try to get any oils or whatever's on this thing off. Otherwise, like I say, I'm just going to go ahead and oil this movement. I glued on the trim, and now leaving this stuff on there because it's such a gap of a hole, I'm gluing them into their place too, where it originally came from. I use mothers on it up to here. Roughly speaking, no change. So let me try a different cleaner. This is mothers. This here's a Cinechrome, which is cleaning it better. I have a feeling this here has a finish on it. So I did the whole bar real quickly with the Cinechrome. Yes, it's getting fingerprints really easy, because what would need to be next would be your Renaissance wax, and once it dries then you won't have fingerprints on this. I'm going to go over it again just to make sure. It does have quite a shine. You don't necessarily need a mirror finish, although that might be cool. And there's a chance, now that we have this stripped down this far, we can use mother's wax on here, and or I should call it mother's mag and aluminum polish, and see if this will shine up way more than what it is now. Like I said, I just kind of quickly went over it with that, and it did a really nice job. So I went over with the mothers, means I had the top coat stripped off, and it gave a very nice shine on this thing. And normally I don't use a Renaissance wax on here, but I'm going to go ahead and try. Normally the wax likes to shed off, I guess we'll put it that way, after you've used this. But I'm going to go ahead and try to get it on here. Like I say, it does have a very nice shine on it now using both polishes. I also wanted to mention, you see this black, that's what's coming off of there. You need to keep moving your rag in order to get the best shine you can on that. Get all this yuck or brass or whatever it is off of there until it'll finally start coming clean. So I repainted, spray painted this gold. Instead of having the silver tops, I painted them, and I'm not sure how much of any of this is supposed to be on here, or if someone kind of made it up. It is kind of unique, and so that's why I wanted to put it back on there. And so now we can install this tiny movement. Like I say, this is really tiny actually. This here is what rides on the brass bar with the teeth on it. And I checked it out, I didn't see any worn pivots or anything. We got this little, this here still needs to be bent down, but I'm going to wait until I get the dial onto it. I'm just going to go ahead and put this into here now, and then we'll deal with getting the dial put back on. Yeah, we're way off, I do believe. But we won't know until we get the rest of this up and running. So you can see white touches here and there where this has been scratched. You've got places where there's no wood, it's missing. And so what I plan on doing is just going ahead and using the scratch cover. Now, I didn't have a chance to go to Home Depot yet because I do believe they have some of this scroll, or what do you want to call it, a trim. I think it's too big that they have because it has to fit in between this. It's in this flat part here. I was thinking I do have a saw, I could cut it down depending on what it is. Excuse me, what it is. But like I said, I haven't had time. So for now, I'm going to go ahead, just in case I can't find any more, dress up all these white spots. I tried the scratch cover. This is actually paint on here, and there must be a primer underneath, so I'm using a Sharpie. And what I'm looking for, obviously I'm not matching, but this color is better than seeing something white sticking out that grabs your eye towards it. And then of course after this dries, I'll wax this whole thing. Yes, I know the paint's on here, but there's some places possibly you can get in because it is starting to crack now. And I'd like to preserve this the best I can. I'll have to level this out first before I can actually set that. So this is the two 1750 clocks. Obviously the one on the left is the one I just repaired. And like I said before, I don't think those decorations are necessarily for this clock or came with the clock. It might have had something of the sort, but whoever did, like I say, put it together was kind of inventive. And I like it, so I'm leaving it. So, I guess this goes to show these are actually easy clocks to work on. There's not much to the movement. And so far, like I've said, both these clocks, the pendulum was bent out of shape, not even close to where it was supposed to be. And the pendulum itself is easy enough to bend because it's just a wire, brass, or I'm guessing it's a brass wire. Might be a steel wire, but it bends easily enough. You just have to be careful of up inside where it goes through the tube and hooks in. Happy with this clock the way it turned out. Not too much more I can say except I'm thrilled to have another one of these clocks. So anyway, if you appreciated this video and maybe got something out of it, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe because it's free. And until next time, God bless.